And by magic of video, I'm standing in the same place I ended the last one. I'm that accurate. Just kidding. All right, so let's move on to the next phase of evaluations. So up here is a very poor situation to be in. So far, there's no oak trees. We are dominated by hickory trees, more big black gum trees, hickory, maple, hickory. Starting to see a pattern here. Hickory, 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 hickory. Another hickory tree right here. Big cedar tree. Oh, there's something different, a cedar tree. Great big hickory tree right up here. Our prettiest tree of the entire place. But it's not being pretty to my deer. We'll keep going here. Not a single oak. My last baby oak is right over here. He's not big enough to do nothing. And he's being destroyed for any chance of sunlight. And of course, there's my promising star in the future right there. That white oak. Here, nothing. More hickory. Here's a white oak. But this tree's in major trouble. Grapevine. Fantastic potential here, guys. Cut the grapevine off. You're going to free up the canopy for that tree. But it's got to find a way to get around this monster canopy of this hickory tree. That is one big old beefy hickory tree. Huge canopy. I would say it's taken up 70 feet across, if not 80 feet across. It is a very wide tree. If you had an oak tree with that canopy in it, I would be giving that tree an A+. You want your oak trees to look like that. But I think some point lightning's going to get that tree, or a windstorm, because it just has such a large canopy. Not often when you allow a hickory tree to expand out like that, but that's what happens when loggers come in and remove all your good competing trees, and it's just had 40, 50 years of you're in my way, no you're not, and it's taken over everything. So this whole portion of this part of the ridge is getting a failing grade. I could up it a little bit when I come in here and cut these vines off. Look at all these vines right here. Huge potential to have a whole bunch of sprouts right here. And it would free up, guess what? Another oak tree that is entangled and it's choking it off. So I'm going to help this red oak right here greatly by just cutting vines off at this point. Another vine right here, poison ivy vine. What's on this end? Is there anything any better? Well, no, not really. So we're still in mode of hickory, hickory, big maple, hickory tree, locust trees. Oh, that's not helping anything. Tree of heaven, really not helping anything. Ugly sprouts in here that don't need to be here. White oak needs some help, quite a bit of help, and I don't know if this tree can recover, but it's a somewhat simple fix. This hickory tree can go away, sassafras and hickory tree, sassafras gone, and it'll actually have a pretty good hole right there. That's actually not that bad. I'd give this tree a C. It could help. So I'll do what I can for this white oak right here and try to see if I can free him up a little bit better. Up here, hickory tree, poplar tree, poplar tree. We're starting to get into a different classification of trees. Another poplar tree there. There's a few hickories, sassafrases, no sweet gums. There's wild cherry. There's a lot of locusts in this area here. So this all gets a failing grade. There's no valuable food here. Failing grade, failing grade. Everything in this window, failing grade. A huge chunk of the wood's doing nothing here. And I'll go ahead and tell you, there's some baby oaks in here, but there's not a single decent sized tree there. None of those trees are going to be producing anytime soon, but I will attempt to free some of those up just to save a little time here. Down here, nothing of value once again. We have a different species. We have a red bud. You can cut these down and deer will eat those sprouts like crazy. So as of right now, this tree's not serving any purpose other than blocking lights and taking away valuable nutrients. All right, huge golden opportunity right here. Do you see it? I'm not going to pause the video, but I'll give you a chance to look at it. All right, let's go over here. Gigantic grapevines. A lot of good sprouts can come off of something like this. I am definitely going to be cutting this down or into pieces, and most likely it is rooted under this ground right here. So if these vines lay on the ground, it will send roots out. So I'm going to cut this side off here and this part from basically here down and let that re-sprout. That'll give the deer a whole bunch of grapevines. I think this one right here would be a good poster child to come back in and see the update on this one. Here's another great old big one. A lot of potential right here. So we're going to turn a negative into a positive. So it's going to be rooted in the ground here, possibly somewhere in there, but most likely it's going to be right here. And I'm going to cut that off and it will free up all that nasty crap up there. Ugly, ugly wild cherry there. All right, so we got tree of heaven sneaking in here. That's ugly. Another big hickory. Man, it seems like a running theme in here, doesn't it? Hickory, hickory, hickory. We go down here. I've got a little bit of hope. I've got this oak tree right here. Growing sandwich style, just like the other trees, except it's a supersized sandwich. This hickory tree, what a guess that is now blocking over half this tree from growing back to where the hickory tree is now. So I've lost half the production just on this side, and now you've got a big ugly pine right here, a big old poplar tree, and I've lost 40% of that side. So that's not good, and this tree will never see full production as long as it stays in this situation. So there's a small thing or two I can do here, and I'm definitely cutting this pine tree down, and probably this guy, and that'll help it out some. That'll get me back a little bit of the space that was lost, so I can make some modest improvements there. I mean, that poplar tree is probably our largest remaining poplar tree. So down here it becomes poplar tree heavy, and we have one really good field oak right here. And of course, you can guess 80% of the limbs are growing out into the field. There's only one or two good limbs growing back toward the woods. And years ago, we had actually cut down a tree that was blocking that one. I would say about 10 or 12 years ago, way before I did this group. And it really filled in a lot back in here. I know some of these trees are blocking this. Another white oak right here. Promising start, and then an ugly curly Q top. So not exactly the tree I'm looking for when it comes to keeping an oak tree. But there's a lot of useless trees right here that are not serving the purpose of my deer. I've got some walnut trees in here. This used to be a big walnut tree that we cut down, and I'm going to put a bur oak here. And look here, folks, we have some greenery. Sunlight got in here and we have greenery. So this spot here actually gets a higher quality grade just because there's something green growing here now. The goal is to get something going, and not everything green is what the deer is going to eat, but it is a move in the right direction. This tree took up a huge space. You can see the top laying way over there, and now I have a gigantic hole. So right here is most likely where I'm going to stick a bur oak tree. And I'm going to replace a walnut tree with a bur oak that has more nutrition than a white oak tree. So I'm going to upgrade my woods. And these bur oaks are experimental because they're not necessarily for this region, but I'm going to try it anyway. These trees are very cold tolerant and grow very large. It will compete with any oak tree I've got here. That's not an issue. Here, more poplar trees. A lot of double growers, but they're big. Poplar trees grow really fast. They're the second fastest grower to an American chestnut. But this is looking really good. All right, guys, so I've only got one more set of woods to do an evaluation on, and these evaluation videos will be done. You all have a good day. More to come.